All right, so today we're going to be looking into something pretty interesting. I
Yeah.
think we're doing a deep dive into public perception of a law firm,
Yeah.
specifically the Law Office of Scott D. DeSalvo, LLC.
Mhm.
And we're doing that by going through and analyzing a whole bunch of client testimonials.
That's right. Yeah, we've got over 200 testimonials to go through,
Wow.
and they paint a pretty consistent picture with the firm boasting a 4.9-star rating.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And, this kind of deep dive is really helpful for anyone who might be considering legal representation,
Sure.
maybe doing some research on client satisfaction, or just curious about how a firm presents itself through the voices of its clients.
When I first saw just the sheer volume of these testimonials, I was
Wow.
blown away. It's not every day you see this level of engagement from clients
For
in
sure.
that 4.9-star rating. That's seriously impressive.
Yeah.
But it got me thinking, like, what is it about this firm that's generating such consistently positive feedback?
That's a great question, and that's the question we're here to answer.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that in a field like law,
Mm-hmm.
trust is everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Client testimonials can really make or break a firm's reputation.
Totally. So digging into these testimonials, a few key themes just kept popping up over and over again.
Okay.
One of the biggest ones was accessibility and communication.
Mm.
Clients consistently praise DeSalvo's responsiveness, his availability, and the way he explains things so clearly.
Yeah.
For example, Dennis Bizema mentioned how DeSalvo always returned my calls.
Right.
Now, I don't know about you, but when I'm dealing with legal stuff,
Yeah.
the last thing I want is to feel like I'm in the dark.
Right.
Having a lawyer who's easy to reach and who keeps you informed,
Yeah.
that's got to be a huge relief.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond just reducing anxiety.
Sure.
When a lawyer is good at communicating and explaining legal complexities in plain English,
Mm.
it allows the client to understand the strategy, ask informed questions,
Yeah.
and ultimately feel more in control of the situation. And that can make a real difference in the outcome of a case.
Makes a lot of sense. And speaking of feeling reassured, another theme that jumps out is honesty and trust.
Okay.
Clients repeatedly emphasized DeSalvo's trustworthiness and his commitment to their best interest.
Mhm.
Aaron Riley Benson, for instance, called him open, honest, and truthful.
Wow.
Now, those are three qualities I definitely want in my corner, especially when the stakes are high.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fields where the stakes are often high, emotions run strong,
Right.
honesty and transparency can be incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
It builds trust and fosters a sense of partnership between the lawyer and the client.
It's like you're not just handing your problem over to someone and hoping for the best.
Right.
You're actively involved in finding a solution.
Exactly. And that feeling of being heard and understood,
Yeah.
of feeling like more than just a case number,
Right.
is another theme that emerges from these testimonials.
Mm.
Clients consistently mention how DeSalvo makes them feel like their individual needs and concerns are truly valued.
Right, and I remember Lauren Brooks mentioned DeSalvo even visited him in the hospital to help with a problem
Wow.
that's going above and beyond the typical lawyer-client relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, that level of personal attention and care,
Mm-hmm.
that's got to build some serious loyalty.
It definitely does. And in a competitive field like law, client loyalty can be a major asset.
Sure.
Loyal clients lead to referrals,
Yeah.
positive word of mouth,
Yeah.
and a stronger reputation within the legal community.
Yeah, makes sense.
But beyond the business benefits,
Mm-hmm.
these testimonials highlight something even more profound,
Okay.
a sense of genuine compassion and empathy.
Yeah. It's clear DeSalvo isn't just treating his clients like cases. He's treating them like people. And that personal touch can make all the difference when you're going through a tough time.
Couldn't agree more. It's important to note, though,
Okay.
that while the vast majority of these testimonials are glowing, we do see a few negative reviews sprinkled in.
Interesting.
Now, some might dismiss these as outliers, but I think they're actually quite valuable.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, negative reviews can provide a more balanced perspective.
Okay.
They can highlight areas for improvement or reveal aspects of the firm's service that might not be apparent from purely positive feedback.
It's like no matter how good you are, there's always room for growth, right?
Exactly. And the way a firm responds to these negative reviews can be just as telling as the reviews themselves.
So how does the law office of Scott D. DeSalvo handle criticism?
Good question.
That's something I'm really curious to explore.
Let's delve into that next, people. DeSalvo's approach to online engagement, especially his responses to both positive and negative reviews, reveals a lot about his commitment to transparency and client satisfaction.
All right, I'm ready to dive deeper.
Let's do it.
Let's get into those responses and see what insights we can glean.
Sounds good.
So we're back and ready to unpack these responses to reviews.
One thing that immediately struck me was just how DeSalvo responds to almost every single review, both positive and negative.
Wow, that's a lot of engagement. I feel like a lot of businesses just ignore the negative ones and hope they'll just fade away.
You're right, it's a common approach.
Yeah.
But by actively engaging with all feedback, DeSalvo is demonstrating a commitment to transparency and accountability.
It's like he's saying, hey, we're listening and we care about what our clients have to say, whether it's good or bad.
Exactly. And his responses are never defensive or dismissive.
Okay.
Even when faced with criticism, he takes the time to clarify misunderstandings, to provide additional context, and sometimes even invite further dialogue.
That's interesting. Do you have any specific examples of how he addresses those negative reviews?
Sure.
I'm curious to see how he navigates that.
Absolutely. Remember Susanna Linares,
Yeah.
the client who expressed disappointment that her case couldn't proceed because the defendant lacked insurance?
Yes, I remember her review.
Well, DeSalvo acknowledged her frustration and explained that while he couldn't control whether someone has insurance,
Right.
he explored all possible options and fought hard for her best interests within the limitations of the legal system.
That makes sense. It must be tough for clients when those external factors, like lack of insurance,
Yeah,
impact their case, even if their lawyer's doing everything they can.
absolutely. And by acknowledging those limitations and being upfront about the realities of the legal system, DeSalvo is managing expectations and reinforcing his credibility.
He's not making promises he can't keep.
Right. It's about setting realistic expectations and being honest about the challenges involved. And this honesty seems to be a recurring theme,
Yeah.
not just in his responses to negative reviews,
Right.
but also in the way he presents his services overall.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was just thinking about how many reviewers specifically mentioned DeSalvo's ability to explain complex legal concepts in plain English.
That's a great point, and it ties directly into his commitment to honesty and transparency by breaking down legal jargon
Right.
and making things easier for clients to understand.
Yeah.
He's empowering them to make informed decisions throughout the process.
Like John Jablewski mentioned in his review, DeSalvo actually explains the legal system in plain English and explains your options in the case before he takes any action.
Right.
I can imagine that kind of clarity would go a long way in easing anxiety and building trust.
It certainly does. It fosters a sense of partnership
Yeah.
where the client feels like an active participant in the legal process,
Yeah.
not just someone being told what to do.
It's about collaboration, not just dictation.
Exactly. And this collaborative approach seems to be a key part of DeSalvo's overall legal strategy.
So even though we don't have access to case files or court records,
Right.
we can still get a sense of his approach through these testimonials and online interactions.
Precisely. We're seeing a pattern of clear communication, client education, and a genuine desire to make the legal process as transparent and accessible as possible.
It's funny. I was initially drawn to this deep dive because of those glowing reviews and that impressive star rating. But the more we dig into these details,
Yeah.
the more I'm realizing it's not just about accolades. It's about a deeper philosophy.
I completely agree. We're getting a glimpse into DeSalvo's core values and his commitment to building trust,
Right.
empowering clients, and navigating the complexities of the legal system with honesty and integrity.
It's like he's redefining what it means to be a lawyer in the 21st century,
Yeah,
using technology and communication to create a more human-centered approach.
that's a great way to put it. And it's not just limited to his interactions with clients.
Okay.
Remember how we talked about those reviewers who haven't actually used DeSalvo's legal services,
Right.
but are impressed by his YouTube videos and online resources?
Right. Let's talk about that. I'm curious to learn more about his efforts to educate the public.
It's a fascinating aspect of his practice that goes beyond traditional legal marketing and speaks to a wider commitment to accessibility and empowering individuals with knowledge.
So it seems like he's really going above and beyond,
Yeah.
not just representing clients, but also educating the public through his online content.
That's right. And what's interesting is that it's not just generic legal advice.
Right.
He's providing very specific practical information that can help people navigate real-life situations.
Do you have any examples of the kinds of things he covers in his videos?
Sure, we saw reviews from people who were impressed by his in-depth explanations of personal injury cases, workers' compensation claims, and even how to use his free online injury calculator.
Wow, that's pretty comprehensive. It sounds like he's covering a lot of ground and really trying to empower people with the knowledge they need to understand their rights.
Exactly. And remember, this is all free information.
Right.
He's not charging for these resources or trying to upsell people on his services. It seems like a genuine effort to demystify the law and make it more accessible to everyone.
It's almost like he's saying, look, the legal system can be intimidating, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
I'm here to help you understand it, whether you hire me or not.
And that's a powerful message, especially in a field that often feels shrouded in secrecy and jargon.
Right.
DeSalvo is breaking down those barriers
Right.
and creating a more transparent, approachable experience.
When we first started this deep dive, I was focused on those glowing client testimonials and that impressive 4.9-star rating.
Right.
But as we've explored these other aspects of his practice, his responses to reviews, his commitment to clear communication, and his efforts to educate the public,
Right.
it's clear that there's a much deeper story here.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
We're seeing a consistent pattern of honesty, integrity, and a genuine desire to help people navigate the complexities of the legal system.
It's like he's built his entire practice around building trust and empowering individuals, whether they're clients or just seeking information online.
And that's a refreshing change in a field that can sometimes feel adversarial and transactional.
So for anyone in Illinois seeking legal representation, or even just looking for reliable legal information online, the law office of Scott D. DeSalvo seems like a great place to start.
Absolutely. And remember, as with any important decision, it's always wise to do your own research.
Sure.
Consider your individual needs and priorities, and consult with multiple attorneys before making a final choice.
Well said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of Scott D. DeSalvo.
That's right.
We've explored his practice from multiple angles, gaining insights into his values, his approach, and his impact on both clients and the public.
Hopefully this deep dive has provided you with valuable information and a better understanding of what to look for when seeking legal representation.
And remember, the most important thing is to find a lawyer you trust, someone who will advocate for your best interests and guide you through the legal process with clarity and compassion. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep diving deep.